This is what somebody was saying here. I don't remember who pointed
Yes,
this
ma'am.
out.
Yes,
Right?
ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, chalo, somebody was listening. Good to hear that. And this is 4p plus 80g. So this I'm multiplying by 44. Sorry, this I'm multiplying by 4. So 80, 4, 12. ये बराबर है अभी. Now this is fine. Any issues here?
No, ma'am.
No, right? Okay. So now if I'm adding this, I'll get minus 2m plus 17p equal to 8p. This can also be written as 8p plus 2m. If I remove this from here. अभी बराबर लिखा है?
Yes, ma'am.
ठीक है, थैंक यू. सो हमको ढूंढना क्या है? 8 papayas and 2 mangoes, which comes here. 8 papayas and 2 mangoes. The answer is 17. Correct? बराबर बोला? This is fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, Yes, ma'am.
Easy? Nothing problematic here? Okay. So the next question, I think we tried solving this similar kind of question last week about the heights, average height. Now here you are given some logical conditions in an emergency evacuation situation. So the situation is, in a possibility of an emergency evacuation scenario within a domestic household, which is a domestic house in India, the height at which the inside latch of the exit door should be installed is to be finalized. Exit door का अंदर वाला जो latch है, that needs to be finalized. It is required to disallow opening of the door accidentally by children. So the children should not be able to open that door accidentally. Which option will determine the height at which the latch should be installed? Assume the height of the tallest child is lower than that of the shortest adult. This last statement is the clue for you. Assume the height of the tallest child is lower than that of the shortest adult. You're given a condition where you have to install a latch for an exit door, where the children should not be able to accidentally open that door. So, at what height should the latch be installed, or whose height should be considered to install the latch? So, either we take the height of the tallest adult, the height of the shortest adult, the average height of the child, the average height of the tallest adult male, and the tallest adult female.
Ma'am, D option.
The last one or the second one? D or B, what it is said?
D option.
D. D. The tallest male and the tallest adult, somebody suggested that is the answer. Anybody who wants to counter? Anybody who has any different answer?
Option B.
Okay. Why?
Because the child should not open it, and the shortest adult should be able to open it. So
Okay.
Yes,
So-
ma'am, I also will do option B.
Okay. Option B. So 2 takers for option B and 1 for option D. Somebody who said option D, why did you suggest option D?
Ma'am, I thought sure it should be an average of all the adults.
Okay.
So if there are 5 adults, so it would be each for everyone.
Okay. So
And if
you're
we take
saying,
the smaller one, it would be harder for the ones which are of taller height for the adult.
Okay, so you are saying that it should actually be the average height of all the adults that are there in the household. And if we take the height of the shortest adult, then it might be difficult for the tallest adult to open it. That's what your answer is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Anybody who wants to counter? Anybody wants to say anything on this in this lines? Or any other option anybody wants to place?
No, ma'am.
Okay. The correct answer in this case will be the height of the shortest adult. Now, see, if the latch height is taken with reference to the height, to the average height of the tallest adult and the tallest adult male and the female, what happens in that case is when both of their average is done. So, for example, if the tallest adult is about 6 feet male and the adult female is about or 6 feet 2 inches and adult female is about 6 feet. If that is a condition, unka 6 feet 1 inch might be the average height. In which case, if there is some adult present in the household whose height is 5 feet 2 inches, it becomes difficult for that shortest adult to open the latch, even though he is adult. Or isme condition, last condition, which when I said is the clue, what is given is the height of the tallest child is lower than that of the shortest adult. जो tallest child है, सबसे बड़ा child है, his or her height is lower than the shortest adult, which means that the tallest child won't be, if we take into consideration the height of the shortest adult, the tallest child won't be able to accidentally open that door, which is difficult for him. While somebody who is taller than the shortest adult can easily open the door. If that latch was takes into consideration the tallest person, it becomes difficult for the shorter person to open. But if it takes into consideration the shortest adult in the family whose height is definitely higher than the tallest adult, which means that anybody who is taller than that adult can open it, but anybody who is shorter than that adult cannot open it. Now, anybody who is shorter than that adult falls in the category of children. And we are given that children should not be able to accidentally open it. And that's why the correct answer is option B. Any questions, any doubts, any conditions, any consideration which I have missed out? You can surely let me know right now, or any confusion you have in this regards.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So you are given this sentence and you're supposed to fill in the blanks, which should be grammatically correct and something should be meaningful. Dash the facts. She proceeded with her decision, finally ending up with a dash situation. Nevertheless, are happy, apparently initially, however noteworthy, notwithstanding sad.
Ma'am, option D.
Option D.
Yes, ma'am, option D.
Yes, option D is correct. Notwithstanding the facts, she proceeded with her decision, finally ending up with a sad situation, which is grammatically correct, and it's also something meaningful coming out of it. Despite the facts that was given to her, somebody proceeded with her decision and ended up in a bad situation at the end of it. That's what the meaning of it is. So the correct option in this case is the last one, which is the option D. Okay. So here you are given pairs of city. Before we proceed with the answer, I would request all of you to find the distances between the pairs that are given, and then come up with the answer and then suggest the answer. Randomly mat bolo saying okay, this is the longest distance and this will be the shortest distance. Don't do it randomly. Find accurate distance between the four pairs that are given to you, and then suggest answer. Why am I saying that is because we also need to know, because you also need to be aware rather of how these different cities are located with respect to each other. Which city falls in the southern direction, which city falls in the west direction, which city falls in the eastern direction, which city falls in the southwest direction. So that's where locate the city on Google Maps, search the distance between them, and then answer. The idea here is I want you to search where these cities are located in the map of India. That's it. Can you do it quickly? 5 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, option A.
Okay, somebody is saying option A. Okay. You searched all these pairs, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Yes, the correct option is option A. First, the shortest distance, Lucknow, Bhopal. Kolkata, Bangalore then comes next. Ahmedabad, Guwahati comes next, which is in third order. And the fourth order, the longest distance is Delhi and Thiruvananthapuram. Why? Because the Indian subcontinent is longer along the vertical axis compared to the horizontal axis. That's why. Is anybody still searching for the option? Is anybody still searching these cities, or are you all done with it?
Ma'am, we completed.
Okay, thank you. All right, so here you are given these jumbled words, and then within these jumbled up different letters which are given to you, one word is highlighted here in blue color, which is set. In these different jumbled up things, what you have to find is you have to find the number of 3-letter English words that are present. The number, how many 3-letter English words are present in this jumbled thing. In this case, the easiest thing to do is go step by step. First row, second row, third row. Likewise, go step by step in sequence from left to right. If you have found the answer, just let me know. Okay, let's try this now. One is given, set, hop, and as I'm moving ahead, ban. Okay, nothing is there then in this line besides this. As I move to the second one, I find this HID. Okay, that's all. Then I come across this fox. Okay, nothing else. In this part, if I see, okay, dip. Did I miss out on anything else besides this? Students?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, anybody else found anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so correct answer क्या है? 1, 2, 3, 4,
Seven.
5, 6, 7.
No.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
com is like an abbreviation, so should we consider it?
Yes, here it is considered. So when the answer list came, they had considered this. This
Okay.
was asked in the exam and they had considered this as a word. Okay. Okay. Next one. So you're given this sequence of a cricketer who is attempting to bat, who is batting basically. And there is the second figure, which is in sequence, is missing. You have to find which of these options, from which of these options, which figure will come here in sequence.
B.
Option D.
Option B or option D? Somebody said
D.
D or B.
B.
For Delhi.
D for Delhi. All right.
B for ball.
Okay. B also. Somebody is saying this also, and somebody is saying this. So far, somebody has said this one and this one. Sure. Anybody else wants to attempt?
Ma'am, B for ball.
Okay. Somebody is saying this again.
Yes, ma'am. B.
Okay. Those who are saying B, did you check the position of the legs? Here they are together. Here they are in cross. And then here also they are in cross. So I have a question. When the bat is, so if you look at the position of the bat also, position of the bat and the legs, just look at that. Here it is that, and then here it is lifted above. So in this case, will this person be required to cross the legs to hit it, or ऐसे भी hit कर सकता है? So if the sequence is going in a manner where the person lifts the bat like that, and then he comes in this position, which is here, somewhere like this, will he be required to cross the leg or not? Why would somebody cross the leg? अगर ऐसे ही करना है, where the bat is like this and the legs are not crossing, and the person would have hit the ball, why would he cross the leg in the first case? I would pick for, in this case, the correct answer is D, and I would also go for that, because if the person is, so the bat position is this, then if I go with option B, then it goes, from this linear position, it goes to that position, then it goes to that position, and then it goes behind at the back. So logically, sequence wise, वो follow करना मेरे लिए difficult है, because if he does this, if his legs are, you know, the way they are seen in position B, and when he crosses the legs like that, there's a possibility that this person might fall off, or there might be some issue, because itna lamba stretch hai, the stretch is V, it's actually a V position here. From both the legs joined together, the position in B is shown as V. It's a wider one. And then in position, in the third position, let's just say number 3. So in the third position, they are crossing each other. Yahan se, from this, going like this and then going like this, the person might fall. They might lose balance. That's where it is possible. I will choose option D, because from the legs which are very close with each other, the person slightly moves his legs, but then his hands are in full motion. His hands are in full motion where he lifts the bat, then the bat slowly comes down like that, and then he just keeps it around, you know, and then the bat just goes around behind his face. So that's where logically I'm able to say that option D fits here well, because from a very from the legs being in a very touched position to opening out wide and then again crossing up, there's a possibility that the person might fall off, and that's where it is wrong. While from a very touched position, crossing them, then again crossing in a different position, and then again crossing in a different position, this seems logically correct to me. And also the way the bat swings, in the option B, the bat goes behind and then it comes out. If the bat is going behind and then it is coming out, in terms of the swing, in terms of the leg position, they are somewhere in mismatch when you pick option B. And that's where option D is correct one. Anybody wants to counter? Anybody wants to say anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, can we also consider the point that in the first figure, the boy is looking towards the ball, which is little far from him.
Yes.
And then he looks where it is near his legs. And in third, he looks more closer, and in fourth, the ball is
It looks
more
away. Yes, you can even look at the nice observation also. You can definitely look at the way his eyes are pointing out. So in option A, they are looking as the ball is approaching him. In option D, it's nearby. In option B also and D also, it's nearby. So that is fine. And then but in terms of sequence, yes, it does put things in perspective that way. And in option 3, it's close. It's almost hitting the bat and then it goes away. So very nice observation that way. Yes, anybody wants to say anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if we have done this question or not earlier. Anybody suggest?
We haven't.
You haven't. Okay. So here you have to lift this load, which is arranged in some kind of thread and pulley system with a truck. You have to lift this load by 8 meter height. This load has to be at a height of 8 meters. In which direction, how much should the truck move in the direction of the arrow so that this load is lifted by 8 meters?
I'm 8 meters.
8 meters.
Yes.
8 meters.
Yes, it's 8 meter because there is no magnification of pulley happening. So there is nothing like one pulley is bigger, one pulley is smaller. Whenever there is variation in circumference of the pulley, only then there will be change in the distance to be covered. In this case, all pulley pulley circumferences are of the same size. And that's where how much ever the truck moves ahead, the load equivalent distance, with inequivalent distance, the load will be lifted up. So 8 meter is the correct answer here. Very easy. Okay, we'll move ahead now. I wanted to, okay, in this question, please everybody take 5 minutes actually, or even more if you want to, 5 to 7 minutes, and search for the works of the artists that are written here. Pablo Picasso, Paul Gauguin, Vincent van Gogh, Rembrandt. Just do a quick Google search. All 4 artists which are written here are of extreme importance for you, and that's why I'm saying do a quick Google search of where these artists come from, like what is their origin place, or where they worked for a longer period of time, and what is the kind of artwork, what is the nature of artwork, what are the good artworks which are well known of these artists. Can you do that quickly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, is my answer correct?
The correct answer here is C. But I would want you to, instead of finding the correct answer, here it's C, but instead of finding the correct answer, look at the works more carefully. Look at the nature of styles that all these 4 artists have. They have very different styles. One is abstract, one is one is very realistic, one is again abstract with different kind of strokes getting used. So also the kind of color choices that they have. All 4 artists have different kind of color choices also. So if you remember the kind of style that each of the artists have, you will be very easily able to guess the work which is given to you. So, so if you look at Picasso's work, it's very abstract in nature. Pablo Picasso's work, very much oriented towards cubism. If you look at Van Gogh's works have a lot of these strokes, a lot of these motion lines that you can see here. These strokes, minor strokes, which you're seeing, this work is very much in line with what you're seeing here, the language that you're seeing here. Rembrandt's work, again, it's very realistic in nature. Again, tones that you see, blackish, sepia, yellowish, more towards the realistic tones of a person's portrait. Rembrandt's work is very much in line with what the kind of color scheme that you're seeing here. And Paul Gauguin's work, again, very stark colors getting used. The way the light is controlled, the way the light falls on the person's face, and the way the drawing captures that effect. It's again seen it's very different than the other 3 artists. So whenever you're looking at the artist work, you should that way look at the style. the way in which the person draws something, the way in which the person draws human beings, the way in which his strokes are happening, the way in which the color schemes that he uses, the manner in which the abstraction, the level of abstraction is there. So very easily you will be able to guess the kind of artist who is associated with the artwork that is shown to you. Has everybody done? Are you all done, or are you still searching? We can wait for some time. That's okay.
Ma'am, we're done.
Okay. Is anybody? Is there anybody who is searching?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. We'll wait for a couple of minutes.
It's done, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. We'll move ahead then. So I'm sorry for the blurred image. So here you are given these different color schemes. And you're given some words here: complementary, spectrum, cool, harmony. What you have to guess is which of these correct options, which of these various combinations that are given in the options, they combine these words with the phenomena that is shown here. So complementary कौन सा strip आएगा, spectrum कहाँ पर है, which is showing cool, colors which is showing harmonies, harmonious colors. That's what you have to guess here. Okay, let's go step by step. First वाला क्या आएगा? What words matches the first strip?
Spectrum.
Spectrum, because it's showing various layers of different colors, which are present in the spectrum. That's where spectrum. So one will be Q. One hue wala, you have two options, A and B. Okay, so C and D are negated here. Come right away. Now, when I go to the second one, gray, sepia, and then blue, which is this color scheme?
Cool.
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 So two is R. 2R wala ek hi option hai. This one. 1Q and 2R. One is Q and 2 is R, is only one option is there, which is option B. So we straight away arrive at our correct option. Then we'll cross check. So third wala is given S, which is harmony, which is appropriate. This is harmonious color scheme transition, which is seen. It's correct. And the fourth one is, talks about complementary. Yes, these are complementary. Red and green are complementary colors. Yellow and purple are also complementary colors. That's where option B is the correct answer. Okay. Any doubts, any clarity, any questions? Anybody wants to ask?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Thank you. So now here you are given a piece of paper which is folded. You fold it like this, then you make a square, and then you make a triangle. You fold it like that, and then you get a triangle. And then after making the triangle, you are cutting this in this way. The yellow part is getting cut. What you have to ask is, when you open this out in the reverse sequence, and when it becomes a square, which is the correct option that you get. So in this case, what we will do is, it's easier one. So what you do is, you basically draw what will come out when it is open. So this will be like this. A triangle here, the triangle will happen. So if that is the box which is happening, so triangle cut out somewhere here. ऐसा आएगा. उसके opposite triangle ऐसा आएगा. This box which is happening here will be mirrored Am I drawing it correctly?
Yes.
The triangle you have done is wrong.
The triangle that I have done is wrong. Okay. ऐसा आएगा.
Ma'am, it will be on the right side of the square,
This triangle, this one.
not on
Yes,
the
ma'am.
top, on the right side.
But
The pointed face will be
if
facing
I'm
the
opening
left.
it on that side, देखो ये यहाँ पे ऐसा है तो यहाँ पे it will be इसका mirror आएगा.
Ma'am,
When
but
when I
option में
open
भी वहाँ पे
Ma'am, but
triangle नहीं है.
firstly it is opening as a triangle, no? So it will be on the right side.
Okay, sorry. I got what you're trying to say. Sorry, yeah, my mistake. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. So wait, let me draw it again. Sorry. So what you are saying is ऐसा है तो triangle will come. Yes, this. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. That's correct. Sorry for my mistake. Yes.
Option B is
इसका
correct, ma'am.
इसका फिर मिरर होगा.
Option B.
Somebody is saying option B. Okay.
Yes,
तो-
ma'am. B for ball.
हाँ तो ऑप्शन बी में ये अंदर की साइड आ रहा है बराबर है. सॉरी why I'm not able to draw a square. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, I missed out on one thing also. I'm sorry for this. ये यहाँ पे भी ऐसा आएगा. So the correct answer is option B. Then correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
In this case, if you even if you arrive at halfway and if you are able to guess the correct one, you don't need to draw the whole thing. Just straight away get to the answer. आपको time नहीं मिलेगा exam में. Right now we have ample of time and that's why we are reconstructing. But otherwise you won't get time in the exam. Similar kind of question. Here I don't think so you would be required to reconstruct. It's fairly easy to answer what will be the correct one. Anybody who wants to guess?
Option D.
Option D.
Option D.
Yes, ma'am.
Option D is the correct one. Somebody might get confused between option A and D. The correct one, the issue with A and D is the orientation of those boxes, or A or D and B also many a times. So option D is the correct one here. Yeah, look at this artist work now. Escher, M.C. Escher, E-S-C-H-E-R. M.C. Escher. Can you do a quick Google search of his work? His work is also many a times asked. Also, there is one more thing which I would want you to search for is also the word tessellation. What does tessellation, which is of option A, what does tessellation mean? Just do a quick search on tessellation, okay?
Ma'am, it is A.
Okay, there are two options for here. Two to three options are possible here. Okay, chalo. What is tessellation? Quickly, let me know. इसमें tessellation है या नहीं है? Is tessellation present in this illustration?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
Yes.
this transformation of these fields to as it goes above to these birds, that is a phenomena of tessellation, right? Which is seen.
Yes, ma'am.
Figure ground क्या होता है? Figure and ground is what? Anybody? Figure ground?
No, figuring ground is like it's like a type of illusion. It
No,
means the
figure
same
in
drawing. It can be viewed in two different ways by two different people.
That's a different phenomena. Figure ground is something where there's a figure which is the highlight, which is a foreground, and there's a background. And figure ground generally happens with black and white images. So there's a figure which is black, and then there's a background which is there's a figure which is black, and there's a background which is white. Now, what happens in why this also is supposed to have figure ground is because in the bottom half, if you see the bottom half, if you see, the black is the object and the white is the background. If I move to the top half, the white is the object and the black is the background. It's forming the background. That's where I am saying it also houses the phenomena of figure and ground. You may perceive this alternate wise. So something which is in white can also be a figure, and something which is in black can also be a background. That is possible. But figure ground will always have two colors in its place. which is one is black or white or any other color and black or any other color and white, that is possible. But it should highlight some kind of object. Using that composition, using one color should be used to highlight something, another color forms the background of it. That is the phenomena of figure ground as represented in an illustration. Now, can anybody tell me the third option? What is mise and scene? I'm sorry, mise. I'm sorry for the pronunciation. It can be, it might be pronounced in a different manner. But see, kya hai? Mise and scene. What is that? Anybody searched about it?
Ma'am, it's something about a stage design.
Yes. So mise en scene is a stage design phenomena. It is basically the look and feel of different settings, props, lighting. Sometimes even actors with costumes, makeup and everything in a performance. That's why it is related to stage design and the arrangement of actors, the arrangement of props, the arrangement of lighting, which forms the whole composition of theater. Okay, that's mise en scene, which is a stage design phenomena. Collage kya hota hai? You know collage, right? You have been working with collage.
Yes, ma'am.
Kya hota hai collage?
Paper art.
It is a paper art, but a collage is something where you combine different shapes, different illustrations, different kind of materials also, textures also together. You may use photographs, you may use different pieces of paper, different fabrics also to create something meaningful, create some kind of meaningful illustration. Now, given these four definitions, क्या आएगा आंसर इसका? What is the answer here?
A, B, and D. I don't think C is.
It's not a collage. First thing, this is not a collage. Why? Because it's an illustration. It does not combine different materials together. It's a graphic illustration. It does not combine different textures. It does not combine different, pieces of paper which are of different color. It is all one. Figure ground is there, tessellation is there. So that's why the correct answer is option A and B, and it's not a collage. It's also not a mise en scene. Any doubts? Any question? Anybody wants to question? Anybody wants to say anything, ask anything, comment on anything? Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you're given three statements and you have to guess from these three statements which are true, what conclusion can be drawn from these three true statements. First statement says visuals can either be abstract or non-abstract. So visuals can either be abstract or non-abstract. Logos are abstract visuals. Logos is one typology of abstract visuals. So abstract visuals is logos basically. And all photographs are non-abstract visuals. And photographs is another category of visuals, which is non-abstract visuals. This is clear for you, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll start with the first one, A. A logo cannot be a photograph. Is this true or false?
True.
True.
True. Yes, true. Why? Because first thing, visuals are abstract, non-abstract, but logos are one category, which is abstract visuals, and photographs are another category, which are non-abstract. Now, abstract and non-abstract, they both are opposite of each other, and that's why logo cannot be a photograph. Correct? So that way, option A is correct. Option B, a photograph cannot be a logo. Correct or not? True.
Not.
True. Photograph cannot be a logo, which is the opposite of what A is, which is exactly the inverse of what A is saying. But they are both saying the same thing, that logo cannot be a photograph and a photograph cannot be a logo, because they both are opposites of each other. Now, an abstract photograph can be a logo. Correct or not?
False.
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 False, because we don't have information about this third category which is coming. Abstract photograph. Abstract photograph का यहाँ पे कहीं पे कुछ भी नहीं दिया है. Is anything given here about what is an abstract photograph?
No.
That's where we'll say it's, because it's not given here, we will say it's wrong. Okay. A non-abstract logo cannot be a photograph. Same principle, because you are not given any information about non-abstract logo. यहाँ पे कुछ भी नहीं दिया है. That's where we consider it false. Another also assumption somebody can make is, because here it's given that logos are abstract visuals and photographs are non-abstract visuals, one may try to relate that logos will be abstract and photographs will be non-abstract. That's where the words also they're contradicting each other. Both the words are contradicting each other based on what is present here, and that's where also C and D are negated. They are wrong. Anybody wants to say anything to this for this? So the correct option here is A and B. Both are correct. Any doubts? Any queries? We move to the next one.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is given that Government of India has mandated a safety feature called automotive headlights on, AHO, in two-wheelers. According to this, the vehicle headlight needs to remain perpetually in the on mode when the vehicle is running and cannot be turned off even during the day. Which option best explains the reason for this mandate? A, people do not turn their headlights on while driving at night. B, with the headlights on, the pedestrians and oncoming vehicle drivers can notice the vehicle more easily, which seems logically correct also to me, because if we look at option A, people do not turn their vehicle headlights on while driving at night. Yes, it might be true for a few people, but it says people. It does not say few people or some people. It says people. So one cannot, generalize it like that. So that's where option A, option A is something which is wrong. Option B, with the headlights on, the pedestrians and the oncoming vehicles, drivers can notice the vehicle more easily. So if you're on the road and if the headlight is on, even during the day, one does notice those flashes. So that's where it becomes better for the pedestrian to notice the vehicle which is or even any other vehicular oncoming vehicle is coming on the opposite side, to notice the vehicle with headlight on more appropriately. So I will say yes, it's correct. And with the vehicle on, the vehicle rider can see the pedestrian more clearly. Now this is not possible, because if the vehicle headlights is on, the driver in the daylight, it doesn't affect the driver much because the sunlight is so strong. But if in the daylight there is some flash coming from the opposite side, the pedestrian or some vehicle who is present on the opposite side might notice that vehicle more quickly. But for the driver, for whose vehicle is throwing that light on any object in front, for him it doesn't matter, because the sunlight is the strongest in the morning time, and that's why it doesn't matter for somebody who is driving in the car whether or not the headlight is on or off. So that's where this is also wrong. It is a fancy feature which will enhance the aesthetics of the vehicle. No, it is not a fancy feature. In fact, it has some reasoning behind this, and that's where we came across the option B. So the correct option here is option B. All the other three options are incorrect. Anybody wants to say anything? Anybody wants to counter this?
Ma'am, why do we not go for option C? I did not understand that.
See, when in the morning time, when you turn on your vehicle, when in two-wheeler, when you turn on the headlight, does it matter to you Does the light vary for you?
No.
आपको तो नहीं फर्क पड़ेगा. If the headlight is on or off, it doesn't affect the rider, but it affects somebody who is looking at that vehicle, because that light, the flash, it's more looks, it shines rather. In the morning light, if some light is, if a headlight is on, something, you feel that something is shining. For somebody who's looking at the vehicle and not somebody who's riding it. For the rider, it doesn't matter because the sunlight is very strong at that point in time.
Okay, ma'am, got it.
Yeah. एक बार आपको doubt हो ना, just in the morning turn on the headlight and notice whether or not you are able to see any difference or not. You won't be able to see any difference if you're if you know the sun is shining at you on you.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, in UCIT there are two types of questions like MCQ and MSQ. So in multiple select questions, the answer can be 2, 3, or 4 options. Then can there be 0 options correct? So like that, or it is compulsory to be one answer correct?
No, one answer will be correct in MSQ. One answer will be correct. If you are given some option, then there will be a third option, there will be a fourth option which would be added that none of the answers are true. ऐसा हो सकता है, in which case you go for the fourth option which is given, but something will be mentioned. If the options that are given to you are all incorrect, then some option will be added which says all options are incorrect. ऐसा भी आ सकता है, but उसमें option में लिखा होगा कि all options are incorrect. ऐसा लिखना होगा. So you would be choosing at least one option. Okay, but good question. Okay, anybody wants to say anything? Okay, after this we'll move to the last one, and that's the end of the session. So the next question is the last question. Again, search for all the 4 designers. I'll tell you the answer. The answer of this question is Charles Ray Eames. It's a very famous chair designed by this designer, Charles and Ray Eames. The other 3 designers, especially Philip Starck, Philippe, Philip Starck. He's very well known for his lime juicer, that he has designed, and many a times even that object is shown. The lime juicer has been asked many a times in design, any design based question or any other architecture based question also. His work of that lime juicer, they will show you and then they will ask you the purpose of that object. Or even Harry Bertois' work, his chairs are also very extremely famous. Ludwig Mies van der Rohe's work is also extremely renowned in terms of furniture and also in terms of architecture. So can you take 5 minutes and search for all these 4 people's work, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, this chair isn't the Barcelona chair, which was being designed by Ludwig Mies van der Rohe.
Sorry, just 1 second. I thought it was Reims. Sorry, I think yeah, sorry, I missed out. It's Mies van der Rohe's chair, sorry. I confused this with some other chair of Reims. Sorry. You're correct. Who said that? I don't know who
Okay,
said
ma'am.
that. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for clarifying this and so, helping me with the correct answer. I'm sorry. This is Van
No
der Rohe's
problem.
Barcelona chair. Yes, sorry. Have you all seen Philip Stark's juicer, the lime juicer, Spiderwala? Have you seen that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Many times what they do is they show that image and they ask what is the purpose of it. And they write all sorts of things which are related to that form. It's very famous design. Many a times it's asked.
Can you repeat the product name once again?
The product in?
Name or Philip Stark.
It's a lime juicer. It's a lime juicer by Philip Stark. What I said was the purpose of that object. It's called, I found it. What it's called is Juicy Salif. SALIF. Or also known as LEC Lime Lemon Squeezer. ALESSI. Okay. I hope you've gone through this. We'll end this session here. You want to ask anything? Want to say anything?
Yes, ma'am. Is there any books recommended by you for such questions?
Sadly, there are no books. There are no defined books for this, and anything can come as a question. In this case, it is more appropriate for you to practice these kind of weird questions which come. Search for very prominent designers that we will introduce to you, and Pratik will also introduce you with a list of significant designers' work that have been asked. So it's just good to refer them and churn your vocabulary, and try solving these brainstorm questions. That's the only clue. There are no books for this.
Any website or anything where we can find such questions?
No, there are no website as such. No, there are no websites. What you can, but again, like I said, what you can do is, you may look at the past seed or USEED or past architecture-based questions, and that's where you'll find, because they are not available in any books, in any website from which they are pasted in the question paper and then they are given. It's not like that. It's just that it can be as random as it can be. Basically, you have to expect the unexpected in these kind of exams.
Okay, ma'am.
But what we are solving here is the various typologies of questions that are asked. So that's where I'm less concerned of the answers that you come up with, but I'm more concerned about the method of solving these questions. Once you know the method of solving one type of question, if a different kind of questions on similar lines is asked, you can solve it easily. That's where I'm more concerned about the method and less about the answer right now. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. We'll end this session here. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye.